You know what? No. I'm going to go no now. Aaron Judge is not a Hall of Famer.
Some really great news announced last night on the Sportsnet broadcast, too. Sportsnet given the rights to broadcast their own playoff games here in Canada, which is honestly, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I am so excited to listen to Buck and Tabby over some out-of-market American broadcast that just doesn't know the Jays or bringing up stuff that we're all like, yeah, we know, or just not even mentioning it at all, right? And focusing on whoever the American team that
was one thing that stood out to me on last night's show with Anthony Telford. Love Anthony Telford to death, but listening to him praise Yusei Kikuchi,
yes,
it was like, we didn't push back too hard on it, but also, no. I mean, he's not a Jays fan. He's a Rays guy. Yes. He lives in Florida, so you could tell he's just checking the stats at a glance. Technically, Yusei Kikuchi has given up fewer home runs than Jose Berrios. He also did not pitch nearly as much this year for a reason. Mm-hmm. So, but I think that kind of goes to what you're saying about listening to the broadcast of another team, right? Like, do I want to hear what the Seattle Mariners guys think of Jose Berrios coming out of the bullpen when they only know him at a glance? Not at all. So
no,
it'll be exciting when we get the Sportsnet crew.
Scotty Scott in chat here says, preach, was so happy to hear this. And I think that really echoes the sentiment of most Blue Jays fans, is it's going to be really nice to have that home broadcast. And let's face it, we're a little spoiled here in Blue Jays land when it comes to the product that they are broadcasting with, you know, up and down. We've got guys that I'm just like, this is so much better than so many other markets are working with. Like, Buck is just a classic legend, right? And it may be his last season. I know that I sent you the article where he was he didn't straight up come out and say that he's retiring, but he definitely made it sound like it's an option, right?
He missed time this year for health reasons. He's not getting any younger. It only makes sense.
74. Exactly. Pat Tabler has been the color guy with this team through multiple play-by-play guys, right? He was with Buck when it all started back in the early 2000s. He was with Jamie Campbell when he was doing the team in 2007 through 2009, some dark days there. We've watched Dan Schulman leave TSN broadcast when him and Buck started together in like 95, become a name with ESPN on the basketball scene and the baseball scene in the U.S. We watched him come back to Sportsnet. Like, we are spoiled, man. We've got some really talented
Even Hazel
broadcasters.
Left and came back and brought Kevin Barker with her.
Isn't that the true Canadian frickin' entertainment way of doing things? Like, as a couple Canadian comics, that's how it just works, right? As a Canadian entertainer, you need to go prove yourself in the U.S., and then you're welcomed back with open arms, right? Oh, we've always loved you.
Pretty much. Tell us your credits. No, it's going to be, we are spoiled. Great broadcast booth. Great studio. Top to bottom, inside out, it's a great team. I wonder how every other fan base, though, feels about their crew. You know, does nostalgia play a factor? You know, is it just like, I've grown up listening to this shitty commentator, but that's my guy. You know?
Yeah. I think there's definitely some of that. I know that I've been watching a lot of out-of-market games here this month, just with the playoff races that have been happening and stuff like that. And it has really been almost shocking how old school some of the broadcasts are and like how anti-new baseball they are, which is so funny because MLB is all about trying to sell their product, but then they have these like really stuck in their ways old men that are broadcasting that constantly everything that they're trying to promote are bad-mouthing during the broadcast. Yeah. So it's like this really weird dichotomy of like, hey, let the kids play, but also, can these kids stop being so exciting?
Yeah, the MLB announces bigger bags for next year. That'll help, right? And then everyone's like, this is dumb. What's this going to solve?
Bigger bags over my dead body, right? I don't know why that's my old man voice, but it
I
is.
love it. I love it. That's great.
So here's from Blue Jays Twitter. Maddie is her name, and she actually had a few tweets blow up over the last month here, and has definitely watched her followers explode, if you will. But she mentioned this morning that she can't wait for the Kevin Gausman, Robbie Ray Game 2 of the Wild Card Series. Not that anything has been announced, but if it does kind of keep up that
trajectory,
what the alignment that we think is going to go down, of course, who knows? It could change. But boy, oh boy, Kevin Gausman versus Robbie Ray. Buddy, this is what we were talking about back in March.
Gausman versus Robbie Ray, the new toy versus the old toy. That's going to be a pivotal game too, because game 1 is going to be Castillo versus Manoah potentially.
Oh, my goodness. Like, buddy,
wow.
Even if it's like, really, the pitching matchup in this is going to be insane. And it's going to be interesting to see how they even line things up. I know William Gordon here brings up Berrios out of the bullpen, question mark. And who knows? Berrios could get a start, but most likely he's probably going to be ready to go out of the bullpen in game 3 if there's a Stripling falter at all. That said, we touched on this earlier, Adam, right? Do they even do that? Do they line him up for game 1 of the ALDS?
Well, this is the sticky predicament, is if you do bring out Jose Berrios, let's just say you go Manoah, Gausman, Stripling. In game 3 is Stripling. He struggles. You bring in Berrios out of the bullpen. Let's just say you do get through that. Let's say Berrios plays well, gets you through that. Then what do you do for game 1 of the ALCS against the Astros, or against ALDS against the Astros? Because do you just pitch Manoah on 3 days rest? You can't do Gausman on 2 days rest.
No.
And you just burned Stripling and Berrios. I'm not putting Yusei Kikuchi in for game 1. I'll tell you that for free. So I don't know. We have talked about Berrios as like a bullpen option, or Berrios getting the start and then Stripling as the bullpen option. I think whoever doesn't get the start, I don't think you can bring in. That's a scary proposition. You're going to need the fourth guy to start game 1.
Yeah. You can't burn all of your options, is the truth. So just
not putting Mitch White in there for game 1.
Nope. So Ben Nicholson-Smith is supposed to join us in 1 minute, and of course, he is limited on time. So whatever we are talking about, everybody, we are just going to quit the second that he pops up, and we're just going to get right into the questions here, because we're just a couple boneheads who don't know anything. And of course, Ben Nicholson-Smith is a Blue Jays insider and knows his stuff. So we aren't going to make him wait. So just a heads up to everyone, if it gets weird for a second as we quickly transfer him on, it's for good reason.
You bet. Comments, questions we have selected ahead of time from our Discord. Discord is free to join. So if you want questions answered for our next time we have a guest on, Ben Nicholson-Smith, Arden Zwelling, or otherwise, get them in our Discord. But get your comments in the YouTube. And after Ben takes off, Scott and I will stick around and call through the comment section if there's anything interesting in there to talk about. So
exactly. So we were just talking Berrios and Gausman. I know William Gordon Humphrey says, how's the finger? Of course, he's talking about Kevin Gausman, who was removed from the game on, would have been Saturday, correct?
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. Because he had some rubbing and a little split on his finger. Of course, he does deal with blister issues because of the splitter, and it's been very manageable all season. This is something that he is within his routine, right? He looks after his blisters. It is going to need to heal, but it should be fine. I guess they're doing some sort of fancy laser treatment on it, and that he should be good to go come the playoffs here. He might get pushed to game 3, though. You never know. When it comes to blisters and stuff like that, an extra day actually could go a long way. So maybe we actually watch Ross Stripling pitch game 2 of the wild card. I'm so excited to see how this starting pitching lines up, dude. because it could go in so many different directions. We really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.